not me getting emotional. Hello, and welcome to a new video. Today, as you can see the title for this video, I am starting another Omnibus volume of One Piece. This is volume 7, 8, and 9. And I realized I needed to read this now, like now this day, which you're watching later on another day, because in the live action, I thought I cut off with reading the first 6 volumes, but I'm not, because there's another Straw Hat member to join. Apparently, I kind of got spoiled by the posters, and he hasn't officially joined yet, so I need to read this to finish off that arc. I assume maybe we start a new little arc in this one, because I don't think it's going to take that long, but I want to, of course, read the whole thing. I'm not going to just stop mid-part. Going to start this now, chapter for chapter with you guys, as in my other videos, and I'm so excited. I've been loving it a lot. I feel it's stupid to call myself a fan, because I've been here for like 5 minutes and I read 6 volumes. But I've been enjoying myself so much. I've been thinking about One Piece a lot. The live action is making me so excited. And it just seems super cool. So I am very, very excited to watch that. So I need to read this. And I'm gonna get started. That was very yellow. It was intense. Okay. Well, I'm gonna start obviously with volume 7. And the chapter is called Pearl. I mean, on chapter 54. So let's see what's gonna happen here. Okay, so we were in the middle of a fight here. And this dude comes and it's called Invisible Pearl. And he's like the second in command or something for the Lord of East Blue pirate dude. And then Shanks punches him many times. Or like he tries to, I guess. Yeah, he just punched other people. Oh, punched is the wrong word. He kicked them. And then Luffy is fighting the other dude. Who was he fighting again? Is he fighting the captain? I literally cannot recall in this moment. I think so. And then he gets flung into like the Pearl dude. And then he bleeds. And he said he has never bled before in any battle he's been in. So he's quite shocked. And everyone's like, oh! And then the chapter ended. And then we are in chapter 55, Jungle Blood. That was a terrible like description of what happened, but we are surviving. Let's go. The chaos of a manga battle. That's what we're dealing with. So the dude, the Pearl dude, the Invisible Pearl dude, when he bleeds, he thinks he's in the jungle and that like monsters or beasts or maybe will show up because they are like attracted to blood. So then he turns on fire. He's like on fire. And I was like, oh, he's burning. And then like tried to defeat him and it's hot. And then he also like tried to punch him, but it's like, hot. And then Sanji managed to like go under his shield and kick him in his face. And then one was like, oh, he went through his invincible shield. But also there was like a fire, and obviously fire's not good on a ship. But then Saf manages to like use his hat to like blow a huge wind, and then the fire disappeared or something. The dude that Luffy was fighting threw like a whole like, I was gonna say metal ball at them, but Luffy was like, gum bazooka, and then he managed to just like throw it back at him, which was fun. And then we have Jin. I think he was one of the cooks, maybe. I don't even remember who Jin is. But he has a gun on Jeff's face. So everyone is shocked. And then it's chapter 56, I refuse. Let's go. Okay, so it's called I Refuse because Sanji is literally refusing to leave this ship. Because Jin or whatever it's called wants him to leave. He says, you leave and then I will let Saf go. And he's like, no, I refuse. And they're like, whoa, why are you making this difficult? And then he's all like, I took everything from the captain, la 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 la. So I'm not gonna let his ship be taken too. And they were like, why are you just saying shit? And then he's like, stop treating me like a child. And then at the same time, the Invisible Pearl dude stood up again. And he's like beating Sanji around while all like this is happening and he's talking and I'm like, what? And then we go into a flashback from when Sanji is a kid and he's working like as a restaurant boy at this place, and then suddenly Captain Chef Jeff or Captain Pirate Cook's Red Shoes Chef, which is what it was called, and he's clearly much younger, they like raid where he works. So I don't know what happened there, but I guess we're gonna find out in this flashback. He's being beaten around, telling what happened, while again it's at Chef Jeff's head. Chef Saf's head. I keep saying Chef Jeff, but it's Chef Saf. Those sounds were really difficult for me apparently. Chapter 57, if you have a dream. My dream is to be in this world and be raised by parents. This is a joke. Okay, so this whole chapter was dedicated to the flashback. So we had, as I said, Saf invading Sanji's ship. and Sanji's fighting them, even though like the rest has surrendered, because he does not want to die, and he's like, "You're gonna kill us anyway." And then suddenly there's a storm, and a maelstrom happens, and then Sanji fell into the water, and Seth jumped after him. But I didn't really get if he jumped after him to save him, or if he jumped after them because he knew that they were all gonna die in this maelstrom. But the whole ship got crushed, and the rest of, I think all of the others died except the two of them. But they're sitting on like this rock island thing. There's no food. There's nothing there. They can't even fish because like the waves goes in the wrong direction or whatever, and they have like 2 bags of food, and that's it. And then they're sitting on like each part of like the island to like say it when and if they see ships coming. And then suddenly we see Seth take like a huge rock on his foot and crushing it, because we know he only has 1 foot in the future, and that's what happened. I'm like, why did he do that? I guess we get an explanation. I didn't know they had this whole like backstory together, but does he know that he's him in the future? Or he probably knows that it's him in the future, and he treats him like a kid in the future. It's kind of like father and son, maybe. I don't know. Let's continue with chapter 58, the crap geezer. This chapter made me gasp out loud. Okay, so they're on this island, as I said, and divided the food in. And then Sanji divides his food into 20 portions, even though it was like 5 days worth of food, but it's 20 portions, it's 20 days. And then it goes, I think, 20 days, and then he has eaten it all. And then it's like 70 days altogether. I'm like, how did he survive the remaining 50 days? I mean, I don't know how long you can survive without food. He had the water because it was raining, etc. But I'm like, 50 days without food? I guess it is possible. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But either way, he goes over to like the old geezer or Seth to look what he's doing, because he still has this huge bag of food. And it turns out there was no food. There was only treasure, and he never had any food. And that's why he chopped off his own foot, because he ate that. So he gave all this food to Sanji. And then he's like, why? Why are you nice to me? And then he feels super bad and is crying. And Steph is like, because you had the same dream as me, which is all blue. I didn't really get what his dream was. It's like going to the Grand Line and then seeing all the fish to make food. I didn't get this dream. I'm too stupid to understand. But it was really emotional. And now we're back in our days. And then Sanji says that he needs to save the old geezer because he saved him. And he has a debt to him, and my heart is like, oh. And then the next chapter is called chapter 59, Sanji's debt. Debt, not debt as in debt in the ocean, but debt as in you owe something. I don't understand how you pronounce the words differently, but let's go. I just suddenly thought about what all this is happening. Nami's getting away, but didn't Zoro and the 2 other dudes go after her? No recollection, I think so. Maybe isn't Zoro wounded? Is he just in that boat on the side? I don't remember, but either way, what's happening now is that Sanji's basically letting himself die to like stand up or whatever. But Luffy's like, that's stupid, I'm gonna sink this ship, and he uses like a gum attack thing. And then Sanji's like, well, don't sink the ship, I'm sacrificing myself for the ship here. And Luffy's like, but that's stupid. And they're like arguing like old married couple. And then Jin suddenly lets go of the gun and attacks like a Pearl dude and like crushes his shield and everything. And everyone's like, oh, you betrayed us, Jin. You betrayed us. But Jin was a dude that was starving, I think, in the beginning, and like, you know, Sanji gave him lots of food to like survive, and that's how like the whole crew got there in the first place. So he's like, we owe Sanji our lives and I'm gonna kill him myself. And then Luffy was like, oh, it all worked out. And Sanji was like, no, you were gonna sink the ship, so this is not your credit. So this is chapter 60, resolution. Okay, so a fight is starting. Don Craig, which was the captain dude, is like, I'm gonna take them, ha ha ha, because they were gonna, like the other parties were gonna attack, and he was like, no, I'm gonna take Luffy myself, because he's like, who thinks you can actually be a king of the pirates? And Luffy, of course, says me. Either way, then he throws like a thing at them and says it's gas, but it's not. So Luffy tries to kick it, but it's actually like blades, and then he actually cuts into him and some others. Jin is gonna take down Sanji, and then he actually like beats him really fast because he's a really good fighter, while Luffy is gonna fight Don Craig. So we will see how this fight ends up. It like kind of stopped with both of them like in the middle of the fight. Yay. So the next chapter is called 61, The Demon. So Luffy's trying to get over to Don Craig, but can't because he always fell into the water, and we don't want that because, you know, like they're having like their little fight. Then we switch over to Sanji and Jin again, and Jin has like Sanji down once again. And then he started crying the biggest, I call it anime tears, the biggest drops, because you know how they cry. And it's like, I can't kill him. He was the only one that's ever been kind to me. I can't. And then he's crying. And I'm like, dang, dude. That is so cute and very dangerous. And Don Craig is not happy. So yeah, the next chapter is called chapter 62 MH5, which I think is like a special attack from Don Craig or something. And people are like, ooh. So I'm a bit like, ooh, what's gonna happen? Who knows? Not me getting emotional. Okay, so the MH5 was the gas. That was the name of the gas. They said earlier, but I forgot that the gas was called that. So he releases this gas because Jin does not want to kill Sanji, and he's like, can this ship please be spared? They saved our lives. And he's like, what? Like, he's loyal to him to a fault, but he just cannot kill this one man. And he's like, I'm so disappointed in you. You follow me this far and you cannot follow this one order. And it's very dramatic. And then he releases a gas and tells Jin that he needs to throw away his gas mask because he doesn't deserve it. So he throws it into the ocean. The rest of his crew has gas masks and is like down in the ocean. All the other cooks, I think, jumped off the ship as well and is far away from like the gas cloud. Luffy manages to grab 2 masks and he throws them over to Jin and Sanji. And then he's like, oh no, I also need a mask. And the mask suddenly appears in front of him and he uses it. And then when the gas clears, we see that Jin had pushed his mask on Sanji's face, and the other mask that Luffy grabbed was like the one Luffy got. So they are fine, but Jin is not. He's like bleeding everywhere and looks terrible, and then he's dying. And it was really sad. And he saved Sanji. Like, why? Why? Ah! Oh, okay. I think this volume is over now. Yeah, it's volume 8. I Won't Die. I don't think I said that volume 7 was called The Crap Geezer, which is a very accurate name, I guess. But yeah, now it is I Won't Die. And now I'm sad. And chapter 63 is called literally I Won't Die as well. But they will die. No. I'm sad. Okay, it's been a few hours, but I now continued, and Luffy is upset that Jin is dying, so he goes and attacks Don Craig, and everyone's like, no, don't go into his trap, and he managed to actually punch him and knock him out, even though he had like fancy armor thing on and everything. So he did that, he did good. He rose up again and is like, they're still fighting, and he's kicking him. So yeah, next chapter is called chapter 64, The Mighty Battle-Spear. Okay, so he is also bleeding from his arm, Luffy. He was stabbed earlier, I forgot to say. And they're fighting. He takes out his mighty battle spear, that is Don Craig's spear. And he's like trying to spare Luffy. And then he's like, ha, punched you 5 times. Brace yourself. And he's like, huh? He doesn't understand. So yeah, they're just still battling. So it's chapter 65, Prepared, it is called. It's very short updates because they should just punch us. Yay. Also, every fight there's always like people watching it, like the other pirates, and now the cooks are watching them and like being like, oh my god, he did that, and oh my god, he did that. And it's been like that with other fights as well. And I think it's just a funny like audience in every fight. I think it's just a funny added thing. Okay, so they're still fighting, and Luffy is just like not giving up, and they're just saying he will never go up. He has a lot of grit. He like jumps up after him, and everyone's like, no, it's a trap. But then he just manages to kick him off like the top of the ship, and then Don Craig is like, haha, you barely like hit me. But then he uses a super attack and then he like crushes his arm or something. It's very dramatic. But yeah, Luffy doesn't know when to give up, and it scares me a bit for his future because he's gonna someday meet someone a bit stronger than him, I think. I mean, I assume so. And obviously he's struggling already now, and we're already in the beginning of the story. So I wonder if he will ever learn to back off, or if he would just keep being an idiot to like 100 volumes of One Piece. I don't know, but we shall see. We shall find out. And now he's still battling chapter 66, the Chewed Up Spear, but it seems like Luffy's winning. Okay, so Don Craig does capture Luffy in this net, but he still managed to punch him like through the net in a way. And he's thrown into the ocean, but Sanji does save him, of course. And Don Craig is defeated, and Jin is like, oh, thank you for your kindness, Sanji, we're leaving now. And they're like, don't come back. So he was defeated. They all thought he was the strongest man in the world, but he was not. Woo! I mean, now going after Nami. I really wonder where like season 1 will end of the live action. I can't stop thinking about it because like I know Sanji is there, which is why I had to read this as well, like to see him join the crew. But obviously we'll start a new arc now. So I wonder how it will be. I mean, I guess we're gonna wrap up this. So now it's chapter 67, the soup. Who's gonna make soup? on Greg of himself. Joking. We had enough cannibalism. Okay, what just happened? Luffy wakes up after his little recovery nap, I was gonna say, and it's like, where's Matt? And is right beside him. And then Sanji talks to him that he won't go with him because he won't go before Saf acknowledges that he's a good cook. And then he talks about seeing the all blue, which is now what I realize is like a really beautiful ocean with lots of fish. I think it's like really stunning. If we ever go there, I know I will cry. That's what I'm gonna say now. He basically is like, I won't go, and then they're gonna go and eat, and everyone is like eating Sandy's soup and is acting a bit weird. And then they're all like, oh my god, this is terrible. How did you make this? This is the most awful thing we ever tasted. And then Saf also shows up and he says like, you basically suck, you scoundrel, blah blah blah, and punches him in his face. And then afterwards, Luffy tastes the soup and it's like, well, it's delicious, what do you guys mean? And they're like, oh yeah, we know he's good, but the chef made us say all that because they want him to leave, to follow his dream. And then Saf to Luffy's like, you bring that eggplanted baby, was that what they said? That baby eggplant with you, will you take him with you to his dream? And I'm like, I got goosebumps. That's so sweet. I can't deal. Ah! Okay. So now it is chapter 68, the fourth person. Ah, why was it so sweet? Oh, I'm spitting. And then lastly, why is it so sweet? Okay, so basically, Luffy says he won't take him unless he comes willingly. Instead, he wants to stay. And then one of the people that was like, new Sorrow comes like in a fish and is like, we need your help, we didn't catch up with the army, we know where she's going and you need to come now, we need your help. So he's going, and then Sanji's like, I'll come with you. And then Luffy's like, really? And yeah, Sanji knew that they did all that stuff to make him go away, and then he's also like, I won't miss you, and they're all like, we won't miss you. And then when he's gonna leave, they're also crying, and he's like, oh, I hate kids and I have regretted every day that I saved your life. Saf says to him. And then he's like, find your old geezer. And then right when he leaves, he goes on his knees and is like, I will never forget you saved my life, thank you so much. And then he's crying, and now and now they're leaving. So we're gonna catch up to Nami, I think, and find Zoro, whatever they are doing now. And now we're on chapter 69, Arlong Park, whatever that is. We will find out. So is this where we'll end season 1 with them going out after them, or will we get this last part 2? I actually don't know. I'm so curious for like how they're gonna split it up. But yeah, let's see. Beep. Okay, so this definitely could be a place to end first season, just saying. Okay, I'm gonna stop. But either way, so we go on the ship, we go after Zoro and Nami. The dude, I've literally forgotten his name, but one of the dudes that was like, Pirate Hunter, explains a bit of like lore. So we have 7 Warlords of the Sea, and the Hawkeye dude that Zoro fought is one of them. Then there's one called Jinbei, who is the fishman pirate dude, and under him is Sawtooth, who is leader of the Arlong pirates. And then we switch over to like their stronghold is called Arlong Park, which is what's the name of the chapter. And Nami arrives home there because she is an Arlong pirate and has a tattoo, and she stops a kid from going in there that wants to kill the captain, Sawtooth or whatever, because he killed his father. But then Nami gives him some money, it's like, get out of here. So she has been a pirate all along. She's a smart girl, you know. The others are not that smart, as we know. And I'm like, wow, what does this mean? So that was revealed. And now it's the next chapter, 70, The Great Adventure of Usopp the Man. Oh, of course, Usopp is still there. It was so long time ago since we saw him. Okay, so they arrive outside Zoro and the other dude. And Usopp arrives there at Arlong Park and is going to go in after Nami. And then they're not allowing Zoro to go with them because he's injured. So they like tie him up to the ship and leave him. And then some pirates come over and take the ship. And they're like, oh, sorry, Zoro, bye. I guess you're dead now. They go in, and then Usopp meets the kid that Nami stopped earlier. And then there's a woman there whose name I forgot already. Can I find their name? Noiko. And then she takes him home and tells the kid to go home to his mom, basically. And he first is like, I want revenge, but then she convinces him to go home. So he's going to do that. The name of the kid was Shabo. And then Noiko, it turns out that she is the stepsister of Nami because he said he's looking for her. She actually looks a bit like her. And then at the same time, the last thing we see in the chapter is Zoro on the ship arriving. Arlong, I keep forgetting the name. Arlong Park. So he obviously survived. That was chapter 71, The Watch of All Creation. I forgot to say that earlier. We went to a village and it was like really ruined and gross there. But yeah, it's under the Arlong cruise protection thingy. I don't even know what to call it. So we have Sorrow arriving at like the main park place, and Nami's there and she's like, oh my god, you were a traitor all along. And she's like known as the witch and like a traitor, etc. And then he jumps into the water with his ropes and like he's bound up, and Nami jumps after him and saves him, and he's like, what kind of pirate or like witch evil-blooded bitch just can't let a man drown? And she's like, you got me. And yeah, then we also with Nami's stepsister, where she says that they all had to pay tribute to the pirates. If one person misses the tribute, they all like die or whatever, or they all get punished for it, so that's bad. And he's really shocked. And then we switch over to Nami and Sora again, where she gives him his sword to say escape. So obviously I knew that Nami was bad. It was not bad, but it's a bit like ooh. Okay, so we're done with we're done with volume 8 now. We're going to volume 9, which is called Tears. I don't like that name. I don't like that name at all. And chapter 72 is Proper Living. Okay, so what was happening earlier in the last chapter, I forgot to say, was that someone called Mr. Ganso couldn't pay the tribute, and as I said, like that the whole village get punished, and he's like, I will take this one dude and kill him, but the others are like protesting like, don't. We've been paying every day for like, or not every day, but all the time for like 8 years, so now you're gonna kill us all, or kill him, or something like that. And Usopp starts him, attacks him, he gets really angry, and he like starts ruining the whole village basically to try to get Usopp, and Usopp is very scared, but he's also very brave because he did like attack him. And then at the same time, we have Nami going with like treasure over to her grave, and she says that she needs 100 million berries, and she now only has what, 7 million to go or something, and then she's gonna buy the whole village. That's what she's trying to do. I think she's always trying to just save the village from like the rule of these pirates, while pretending to be on their side. And the pirates are like half fishes, so they're much stronger than humans as well. I don't think I said that. And then we have Sorrow, who's like, oh, I'm supposed to bring Nami back because Luffy said so, and has, since he was freed, has like defeated the whole crew that was like at the main camp. Meanwhile, the others are gone. Now it's chapter 73, Monsters of the Grand Line. Okay, so Sorrow is just chilling in a park where he defeated all the people. Then this dude comes and calls this Belle because he's calling for Momo, who is going to be fed, who is a monster from the Grand Line. They show up with Luffy and them and try to eat their food, and then they manage to punch her a few times, and then using her now to like lead the ship forward. Then at the same time, Sorrow leaves the camp to go and look for Usopp. At the same time, Usopp is brought to the camp, and he's like, what happened here? And they're like, what? Sorrow was here? What? And thinks that for a second Nami maybe betrayed him, and he was like, no, of course not. And then has taken Usopp, and then I guess Sorrow is also coming back there to the camp. And yeah, Nami was also there defending herself. Now it's chapter 74, Business. Okay, so Nami needs to prove her loyalty, so she starts fighting Usopp and stabs him and throws him into the sea. So I wonder if she fake stabbed him or whatever she did. But she did this to earn her loyalty at all, like dying. The only thing she cares about is earning 100 million berries and buy the island back again from him. She also has a treasure map, and she was shocked that he found it. But they're all like, no, that's Nami's. But yeah, she's like, will you go back on her promise? He's like, no, I never would have rather slip my throat or something. So it's honorable in that way. Luffy and Sanji and the others arrived at the island just in the end there. So we should see how they all reunite, because I missed them all together. Chapter 75 of Maps and Fishmen. And also, I don't think Usopp is dead, because that would be weird. Okay, so Luffy and them arrive at the island, and they're like kind of like flying in the air on the ship, and goes down a hill and meets Zoro on the way. And then Zoro's like, I need to hurry to find Usopp. But then one of the other dudes, I don't remember his name, Johnny, or maybe another one, says that there's no point because I just saw Nami kill Usopp, and they're like, what? And then we switch over to the scene where the navy arrives to save the villagers, and then basically we see the fishermen just go in the sea and defeat them super easily, so the navy didn't get to save them at all. They all yeah, that was like a little fight scene, I guess, to show off like the fishermen and stuff. And then we switch over to Luffy's like super sad. He's like, what do you mean? Nami would never kill Usopp, she's part of this crew. Yeah, it's super upset. So yeah, that's what we got. And now it's chapter 76, Sleep. Okay, so it was Nami who showed up, and I was like, what are you guys still doing here? Leave. I was never part of your crew, blah 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 blah. Obviously she doesn't mean it. I mean, I guess a part of her means it because she never fully joined the crew in her heart, because she was there for her own reasons, but like, she obviously cares for them and has started to care for them. And then Sanji and Zoro fights a bit because Zoro's like, oh, a traitor, while Sanji's like, oh, she's so beautiful, she can never be a traitor, because he's in love. And then Luffy just decides to sleep. He's just like, no, I'm tired of this fight. He gets in shock of all this and just lies down and sleeps. I don't think he can deal with betrayal. He can't deal with these emotions. And then we switch over to Usopp, who's still alive. He's walking around the village looking for Zoro, and he's hoping that Zoro hasn't gone to the park thing to look for him. Then he catches up to them, and then in that moment, Sanji was supposed to kick Zoro in the face, but then he kicks Usopp instead. Then we have Nami in her house with her stepsister, looking at the map and something, and then the stepsister goes over to Luffy and others and tell them to leave. That's basically it. Then it is chapter 77, the first step toward a dream. Okay, so I forgot to say that early in the last chapter, the other two swordsmen that Zoro left, Johnny and the other dude, they left because they didn't want to die. And then Nami's sister comes and is like, I'm going to tell you the backstory of Nami if you guys leave after. And then Luffy's literally like, I don't want to hear it, and leaves. Zoro falls asleep while Sanji and Usopp wants to hear. And then we go into Nami flashback, where we have her as a kid where they're really poor and starving. She managed to get a book somehow. I didn't really get if she bought it or she stole it. But she managed to get a book about navigation that she really wants to read because she wants to be a navigator. And then they are eating dinner, but their mother is not eating because she is on a diet, but they're actually starving. And then they're fighting. The two sisters are fighting. She's like, we're not even related by blood, why would I care for you, blah 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 blah. And the mother gets really upset, like, don't say that, Nami. She slaps her. And then Nami leaves because she's like, I wish I was saved by rich people. She's like, well, then leave then. And then she goes over to this dude where I think she bought her book. I'm a bit confused. And he tells the story of how they found her. She thought that she was found on a bridge, but really she was found on a battlefield by her older sister. And the mother brought them home and was like, please save them, don't care about me. And they all survive, but yeah, they are poor. But like, yeah, her sister like saved her, and that bond between them is really strong because of this. And I was like, dang. And then we see the pirates arriving, like the Arlong crew that like has taken over because they've been there for many years, like 7 years or something. That's what's going on. The next chapter is called chapter 78, Belle-Mere. Belle-Mere, I think, was like the name of their mother, if I'm not incorrect. Okay, that was absolutely depressing. So we have the pirates demanding 100,000 berries for adults and 50,000 berries for children. And then the children are not home. There's no proof that she has children, so that she has exactly 100,000 berries to pay for herself, and then the children would have to run away. And they're going to do this, is all the plan, because obviously the children weren't home. And then she says, well, here's 100,000 berries for my kids. And like reveals that she has them. She says like, I can't just deny them. And I'm like, girl, you're gonna die, leave them just because of your, I don't understand. But yeah, and then she was shot and died right in front of Nami and her sister that I keep forgetting the name of, and has traumatized them forever. So that's really nice. That was depressing. Chapter 79, To Live. Like, Nami, why she like this? So she decides to save them all by herself because their mother was killed. And then the captain dude that was like helping them was like hurt. He like stabbed in the face basically. She's like, fine, I will go with you if you guys say so, because they wanted her, because they saw that she drew really good charter maps to be a kid. And then she comes back into the village and they have kind of decided to go and fight them and die with respect or whatever. But then she's there and she's like, I'm gonna work for them and draw maps for them and here's money, yay. And all think she betrayed them, but then she tells her sister what she really wants. She's gonna collect 100 million berries, buy the village and free them all. And yeah, that's her plan at least. And she's just gonna say it all about herself. Oh, my child. Okay, either way. Chapter 80, A Thief is a Thief. Okay, so the Navy showed up, and I forgot to say it earlier, but they're looking for Nami, and then they arrive at her house, and it's like, hey, we are here because she's a thief, and she has stolen, so we're gonna take all her treasure. And then Nami's like, no. And then the whole village comes and stand up for her, because plan all along, they just pretended they didn't, because they knew she wanted to do it on her own, and supported her, like, silently. And then her sister got shot, because the Navy was like, how dare you stand against us? And then she realizes that they know exactly the sum she has. And she's like, how? And then she realizes that Arlong sent them after her because obviously he doesn't want her to get the treasure, because then he would have to give up the village. So he sent a name after her. And then she runs over to him and is Superman. Luffy's also there and is like, what's going on? And then she like throws him in the dirt and is like, go away. So yeah, next chapter is chapter 81. I think it's the last one. And it's called Tears, which is me soon, I guess. Not me, I was crying. Oh, literally. Oh, don't look at me. Seriously. So what happened is that she went back to the village and they decided to fight because didn't fight all those years ago because they knew that Nam had a plan, but now that the treasure is gone, I think they do the treasure. They say that they will not fight and probably die. Nami's trying to stop them because she doesn't want them to die, but then it's like, step aside, Nami, you have burdened long enough for us. And then she's just like, no, I will do it this time. I will do it one more time. And they're like, no. And then they all leave. And then she sits down and cries. And then Luffy comes over to her and she's like, what are you still doing here? And he's like, and she's like, you don't know anything. He's like, no, I don't. And then she turns to him and she's like, help. And he just takes off his hat and put it on her head. And then he goes to the rest of his crew and it's like, let's go. And they're like, okay. And Nami just thinks back of when he thought about his straw hat as like the most precious thing he has. And then she cries more. And then they arrive at Arlong Park and then he's just like, where's Arlong? And he's like, who are you? And then it ended. Also, the two sword dudes, Johnny and other, came back. And that's how it ended. Is this part of the show? I feel like I need to check. Okay, the show is gonna be out by the time you watch this. I feel like I'm gonna have to. They can't cover this arc too, right? Nami joined before Usopp and Sanji, but she got her like backstory now later. Because it's interesting. I'm just so curious. I'm so excited. Oh my god. I think it covers this arc as well. It's like 2 episodes per arc or something. Is that what it seems like? Obviously, it's all part of the East Blue arc. But it's like, since I read so many volumes, it makes sense. It's not going to take like 8 episodes to go through a whole arc. But that means I need to read one more. Yeah! Nojiko is in the cast. They're gonna cover this last arc. I don't have the next volumes because they're like impossible to get hold of. So this is a crisis. I read this because I thought this was the last arc they would cover, but they're covering one more. Like this is probably the final one. What did I do? It's a crisis. Either way, that's a problem for me another time. This was very emotional. I cannot deal with backstories, to be honest, but I guess we're just collecting the crew and what's gonna happen next, I have no idea. But I thought that we were done with, like, when we were done with the restaurant, that was the last thing that was gonna happen. But it seems like when we're done with this fish thing, that's the last thing that will happen, like, in the show. So I need to read more. I don't have the volumes. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed. I am actually like so invested and I read like 9 volumes, so I don't even know who I think I am. But yeah, again, thank you so much for watching. If you see me in a new video, leave a fish emoji down below if you enjoyed this and you should see me soon. Goodbye!